Hello everybody and welcome back to the Armory. Today, part 2 of reloading your brass. So, now that we've got a book, and if you've decided to continue on, the first step in reloading brass is we obviously need the brass. So, Ziploc bags are great. It's great to take one to the range with you, collect up all your brass. This bag actually came from a friend of mine who passed these on to me. These are all 308. They're all once fired brass. Really, the first thing you want to do, you want to look over the brass, make sure everything looks good. No split cases, no obvious primer issues, anything like that. And the other thing you want to do is look inside the brass and make sure that there is one centered flash hole. Now this is super important. This means that it is boxer primed and it is easily reloaded. Now I don't have one to show, but I do have a lot of military NATO 7.62 that is Berdan primed ammunition. Now it shoots just fine. I actually use it in quite a few rifles that I have. It's pretty good ammunition. It used to be very, very inexpensive, but it is Berdan primed and it is not easily reloaded, but there are two offset flash holes inside the brass, and that poses a really significant problem when it comes to reloading. Also, the style of primer that goes into it and the availability of Berdan primers is really not great. So these are essentially just recycled for that purpose. But this one, you can see it does have the single flash hole, as does the entire bag, which means this is a bag of gold for reloading. So, when all this brass is processed and everything, this will be fantastic brass to use to reload. Now, before I remove the primer, I actually do clean the cases, and then I clean the primer pockets by hand. So I'll throw these into my cleaner just as they are with the cleaning material, and do it like that. Now, just to give you a quick look, really doesn't fit on my table, but this Frankfurt Arsenal case tumbler, pretty simple, just a vibrating case tumbler. And you just put media and your brass into the case tumbler and let it do its thing. I'll usually let these run for a couple hours. Just depends on how dirty the brass is. I like to keep my brass pretty clean, so it usually doesn't take much time. But that's really the basics of it. You just need a basic tumbler. These are fairly inexpensive. I think back in the day I bought this for, I think it was about $50, and it's lasted longer than a decade of cleaning brass, and it works really, really well. Sometimes if the brass is super dirty, it will just run overnight out in my shop and have no problems. So case tumbler is absolutely critical to get the brass nice and clean and get all the soot and residues and everything off of the brass, and it makes it a lot easier in the reloading dies and requires less lube and stuff like that, and just keeps everything nice and clean. So get yourself a case tumbler and clean your brass. Now, the controversial aspect of case cleaning. There are probably as many different materials to clean the brass as there are different calibers and cartridges for gun owners to shoot. And that is really no exaggeration. I am very, very simple when it comes to this. This is the media I get. I use it straight out of the jar. No extras, no additives. Probably does take a little longer than some because I don't add special mixtures and special this and whatnot, but this works really good for me. Like I said, I try to keep my brass as clean as possible so I don't have to worry about having a whole lot of extra cleaning steps. So I just use basic corncob media. I believe this is considered a little bit on the coarser side, but it works really good for me. And like I said, I don't mind if it has to run a couple extra hours. I'll turn it on when I go to bed and check it when I wake up in the morning. So basic corncob media works just fine. Now, when it comes out of the media, I like these plastic stackable tins. They're really nice. They're fairly tight closing. I wouldn't say they're watertight, but they're pretty close to being watertight. So I'll take all my clean brass when I pull it out, and it goes straight into one of these. It's already counted, separated. These are for my 762 by 54R. I separate them by head stamps and count them and keep them in these containers until I'm ready to use them. And then once they're finally loaded, I put them into durable plastic ammo boxes. So this is not necessary. You can use a bag if you like. Bags work just fine. But these I find pretty handy, and it keeps everything nicely separated and easy to just grab if I need them. Grab and go. So this works really slick for me. So when it comes down to it, you can see a pretty noticeable difference. This one is cleaned. This one is still range dirty. You can see a pretty noticeable difference in the color from the clean and the dirty brass. And the inside should be just as noticeable. It should be nice and clean on the inside. And that's how you want to start. So once your brass is nice and clean, then we're going to go on to the real mechanics of reloading. It's going to take quite a few different steps. We're going to go through each one of them pretty much in their own video, so it can be a quick reference, and we'll do it like that. So get your brass nice and clean, and keep them nice and clean. Keep them sealed from the elements. Bags, plastic boxes, either one works great. And there you go. So that's the basics of cleaning your brass. Now you can use just about any type of brass cleaning that suits you. That's just how I do it. So, all right, that's Brass Cleaning 101. I'll catch you on the next video.